And then we'll open the floor to questions. Sound good?
Yeah.
Cole, you want to start?
My name is Cole Walsh. I went to 5 Acre from preschool to 7th grade. I'm currently going to Stevens Middle School in Port Angeles.
I'm Ezra Sharp. I went to 5 Acre for 7 years, and I'm also going to Stevens. I'm in 7th grade. I haven't graduated.
I'm Alumni I went to 5 Acre for 9 years, and I'm at middle school. And
I'm Ruby Romano. I went to 5 Acre for 8 years, and I'm at school middle school. I'm Emily Taylor. I went to 5 Acre for 4 years, and now I'm at Peninsula College doing Running Start.
Hi, I'm Irie Brown, and I went to 5 Acre School from kindergarten to 6th grade, and now I'm in 11th grade doing Running Start at Peninsula College.
I'm Matthew Craig, and I went to 5 Acre from preschool to 5th grade, and now I'm at the high school as a sophomore.
And I'm Jessica Craig. I went to, preschool to 5th grade here, and now I'm a senior at school and high school.
I'm Raven Sharp. I went to 5 Acre from first grade to the first 2 weeks of seventh grade, and I'm at Stevens now in 8th grade.
I'm Emily Griffin, and I went to 5 Acre from first grade to 6th grade, and I'm at school middle school.
Well, does anybody want to start with any questions?
What's Running Start?
It's where you do your last 2 years of high school and your first 2 years of community college at the same time. So like the end goal is that you graduate with an associate so you can transfer to a bigger university and your high school diploma. Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome.
I guess my question would be, what was maybe one of the hardest things for you when you transferred to public school?
Thank you.
I'll start, I guess. So I transferred so I started my 6th grade year at school middle school, which was really great for me because that year, Grey Wolf and Helen Holler combined. And I think that's a really great place to enter because people have to remake their friendship groups, and you can kind of just come in as new people. There's lots of homeschool kids that join then, different things like that. So it was pretty easy to make friends, but I still kept a lot of the people that I knew. I went to school with Waverly Scheffler and Kaylee Lofstrom, and I'm still friends with them now, like good buddies. So you keep your friends, but then I've also made a huge amount of new people, met new people. And let's see, also from 5 Acre, just the level of teaching kind of puts you a year ahead. Like we're about a year ahead in math and writing level and everything than normal public school kids. So it was kind of naturally, I think it's challenge classes, I don't remember what they call it. Challenge classes in middle school, you kind of slide right into that, and it's a pretty natural fit, just education-wise. And that was also really great because the kids in there are more motivated to pay attention in class and not goof around, which is more of like the setting here. And the regular classes can get a bit hectic and crazy. So that was another thing where I made a lot of friends, was in these more challenge classes, I guess they're called.
And Jessica, you're 6 years out of here now, right? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm putting that in the room because, or 7, yeah. I'm putting that in the room because I'm interested to hear what people, some of you guys are just barely out of here a year, right? So it'll be interesting to hear, because I think you're going to have a really different perspective, which is great. I was hoping you'd be here for that.
I'd like to hear some other kids respond to the same question. It doesn't have to be everybody, but several of you, because you're all going to have different experiences. What was your issues, if positive or negative, transfer?
Okay, some issues I had was the size. First of all, when I left here, I was the only 7th grade girl, and then there's 300 of them. Well, not quite, but a lot, 100 to 200 7th grade girls. So there's a lot of different people, and then also I transferred 2 weeks in, so I didn't start at the beginning of the school year. So that was a little bit tough for me. It was really hard transitioning. to Stevens, but now that I'm there, I love it. I'm really glad that I ended up going there. But the transition was hard because of the size and the amount of people and how different it all was. And, you know, like there's grades and all that stuff. I didn't really care about my grades at first, and so that was fine. I was glad I wasn't like super stressed out about grades at the beginning, but it was just the idea that everything you do gets a letter on it, and so that was really different too.
I had lots of trouble transferring from 5 Acre to Stevens in terms of grades. I was the exact opposite of Raven. I was extremely stressed about my grades. I was horrified the first week of school. I hated it. But now, since I've gone into the flow of everything, it's great. I mean, I'm really glad I went to 5 Acre. It prepared me academically for honors classes and allows me to really excel in everything I do. But like Raven said, the size is much different. 40 kids in our class compared to 40 kids in what?
Fourth grades, yeah.
Do you think that your fear of grades was the fear of the unknown and not knowing what you needed to do to get what grade?
I mean, the grades just freaked me out because my dad is an extreme nerd.
God, he's not dirty.
It's okay, we all know it.
I would say that too.
Yeah. He'd break out in
If
high
he was here, I'd say it for you.
So, I was just worried about that because I thought my parents wanted me to get good grades. They told me they really did not care. I don't really care about my grades now, but it works out for me.
I'll add to Cole's grade thing. I don't know, I guess you could say for like the first 6th grade I started middle school. 5 Acre, you know, you do a test and you don't really know even what you got on it. You just take the test and then, but like, that was sort of that's how I did things in middle school. And I mean, since they put you ahead, I ended up doing okay, but I didn't even I don't even think I knew what my grades were for the first semester. Like, I had no idea what my grades were. Like, I got things back and I was just like, oh, and I just threw it away or something. And I didn't notice it all. And then, you know, now I'm like checking my grades, you know, all the time. But that was the biggest difference, that, you know, that was the grades was totally weird. And I don't think I stayed on top of things. Like, I mean, it was 6th grade, so pretty easy compared to here, but the grades thing was weird.
I disagree. Like, I remember going into middle school being like, okay, I know what grades are. I know I need to get good grades. And then I realized that it's all based around testing. And I just was like, oh, well, all I have to do is get a good grade on the test, and I don't have to do any of the other stuff. And so grades really just, like, threw me for a loop, because it didn't make sense to me why, like, you do all of this work, but all that really matters, literally 90% of your final grade in a lot of middle school classes is the tests you take at the end of the semester. So to me that was really confusing, and I spent most of high school and most of middle school just not understanding the point of it, and it left me like really frustrated and really hating school. And then I finally got to Running Start, which I feel like is pretty similar to 5 Acre in the way that you're really in control of your own education, and tests stop mattering as much as the work that you actually do and what you're actually understanding. And I'm loving it again and like doing so much better in school again. And so I don't know, I didn't like grades when we started getting them, and I'm still not a huge fan, but that's just me.
Did you find that you started to try and work towards how to take a test and not learn the material?
100%. And standardized testing for me was like, has always just been simple for some reason. Like, I'm a good standardized test taker. And so it got to the point where like teachers were telling me it doesn't really matter how you do in your class because your test scores are so good that we have to send you to the next grade. Like, and your test scores don't have to be that good for that to be happening. Like, it's all ridiculous, and I'm so glad I got to miss standardized testing for all of my childhood, because I think it's just pointless and mundane in every way.
Yeah, that was definitely my hardest part of, and it still is test taking, because in 5 Acre, you take the test, but I didn't know how, and then you go into these things where you have to take 75 questions online where you're looking at a computer screen the whole time, and your eyes are like, you know, you're just blanking out, and you're not like used to the testing like atmosphere, I guess, and it still is like some of my hardest. I'm getting used to it now, but all of middle school was like my hardest part was just knowing how to take a test.
The teaching style between here and middle school, I think, is what shocks a lot of people. It's a hugely different scale. Like, I don't know. There's like my one example, Scantrons. Do you know what those are? Yeah, but I didn't know what those were when I was there. Oh yeah, it's like 4 or 5 times a week I use one. But
Now you know how to vote in Florida.
so just stuff like that. They also have numerous tests that they give every single student throughout the year. There's like math testing, and they come up with a new one every year. What he was talking
That's
about
the
on
worst.
the computer, but yeah. Just also the attention that you get from a teacher is hugely different. From Tom being up here and walking around talking to all the students to someone who just teaches the same thing 5 times a day to the students and gives them the same test and puts the scores in the computer. So, you know, the teachers are super nice, but it's definitely not the same level of interaction. And I think that's what's hard, because we come from something that's so small and intimate into a bigger thing where it's just different. But it's just takes a time to adjust, and we all turned out fine, I guess.
I have a question for you. How have you adjusted?
Well, I love the high school. Instead of doing Running Start like Ivory, I took the AP track, or advanced placement classes, which also earns you college credit, but in a different way. You basically go the whole year taking classes at the high school, and at the end, or in May, you take a standardized test, and if you score high enough, they give you college credit. So that's the ultimate learning for a test. We basically spend the whole year preparing to score high enough on this test to get credit. But they're really fun classes, and they're definitely challenging. They push you to your limits and make you learn all sorts of new skills. But I love it.
Many of you have mentioned test taking. Do you feel that 5 Acre could have done something to help prepare you for that?
Yeah.
Part 1. Part 2 is, do you think they should have done something to prepare you for that?
Well, I just got into middle school, and it's really hard because of the test taking and the fact that 5 Acre really didn't do much to prepare you for that. So.
Do you think, I guess my question is, do you think it would have benefited you to have some sort of preparation in that area? Or do you think it would have been a detriment to your education here if you had been prepped for test taking?
I think it would have benefited me.
I think also it's hard to know what it's like unless you're there doing it.
Right.
And then these are people who talk about testing are all from SQUIM so far, and Stevens there's way there's 2 tests. I think there's one like halfway through the year and one at the end, and they don't even go into your grade. You just get the scores.
Yeah.
You're talking about standardized, you
There's
mean?
Washington State.
Right.
Yeah,
So
so we all take
right.
the same tests.
Right, we have the same one, but ours don't go into our grade, like they don't change our classes. I don't know if this is
No,
do.
they
Okay.
don't, but
But in the tests, it's hard to feel like what it's like if you're not in the test taking. And so I think, I mean, you could have done something here, but it would still be, you know, like a 5 Acre version.
Sure.
Wouldn't be the real terribleness. You can't make it terrible if you're doing it here. You know what I mean, though?
I get
It's
it.
like, I think what, not that this is possible in any way, if it, you know, I don't know, but to see what it's like and just to be there maybe and just see for a couple minutes, because you really don't know. There's like no way to prepare you without doing it.
So if they could have a day that people could visit on a day a test is being taken, maybe, go sit in on it.
Well, but I think it'd be more helpful if they didn't teach us how to standardize test here, but maybe take tests like that you would take in a classroom like once a month. Like the math test we did here, I remember, I don't know if this is still the same, but they were just like these really big assessments that you would take at the end of the chapter, and they were fine, and I don't remember getting scores on them, but maybe like a little bit more consistent testing on like different subjects, not in a super hardcore way to where that's all it's focused on, but just maybe like your last 2 years here, that's what you can start to learn how to do, because it does not need to be the focus of education, but the sad reality is like you have to be prepared to do that later on in your education.
Get a taste.
Yeah, exactly. But standardized testing, I really do not think there is any need to bring it here at all. Like, spare your children from that as long as you can. What about homework workloads, like that shit?
No, it's fine. I think that this school year is you're so much more ahead than everywhere else. I honestly, I don't think I had homework at home until this year. Like, I had to take homework home. I would finish it all in class. And, occasionally there's like a big packet or whatever you have to take home. But this, like my sophomore year, even your freshman year of high school, I was able to finish all and I'm in honors classes, so it's not like, and I still could finish my work in school. But now, one thing I would say about the previous thing is that I didn't know anything about the grades. If that was more like an important factor, I would be I'd be more aware of my grades and know their importance more. Going into it.
So I'll jump in there. So I have these two kids here, Matthew and Jessica, are mine, and they're totally different learners. Things I've learned as a parent. So I had a lot of apprehension about the testing and et cetera, and what, as a parent, I've been thrilled about is that 5 Acre found a love learning.
Yeah.
And when they got to the middle school, which is when they both transitioned, they ran into all these kids that could care less because their parents cared less, they were taught to care less. And for Jessica, who's very diligent, very organized, she just sort of figured out what she needed to do and said, this is what they want, I can produce this. And how do I find the things I like to learn? How do I engage the teachers I want to learn? And that's what she's done. And so she's, I'll brag about her, she's a 4.0 student that after 4 years of AP classes at the swim high school and will probably be one of the valedictorians. So I would say 5 Acre prepared her. He, totally different learner who is a boy. And he got in there kind of more like what you heard with Iris, like, what, this is wasting my time, just sort of killing the joy of schooling with all the testing, which she didn't like it, but she just adjusted to it. He just griped about it, and we said, yeah, that's true. It is wasting your time. But the thing he really didn't like was that there were so many kids that didn't care about learning or respect the teachers that he, not a great test taker, basically forced us to put him in the challenge classes to reduce the amount of mayhem that was happening in the classroom to be in that. And because he hadn't quote, tested well enough to supposedly be there, I was like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Well, he got all A's. Right. But he got there because 5 Acre prepared. He was fine. He was fine in there, but he didn't meet the criteria of testing to say he can do all this stuff. So he got there, and he's a sophomore with a 3.69 GPA, who's scored varsity athlete as a freshman. So I think that's because of 5 Acre. I think that he understands how to organize, how to reach out. I know Irene knows this too. That's what the culture is here. Is how do you become you and figure it out? And some people do it differently, but the program, I mean, there's other smart kids, there's no doubt about that, but the culture of kids is different.
Yeah, I agree. I think if 5 Acre really taught me anything, it was how to find a way to learn in any situation that I was at. And I went to 3 different middle schools for my 3 different years of middle school, and one of them was in Oregon, so I bounced around a lot, and I met a lot of new people and totally different ways of organizing classrooms, and it was all over the place. But I was relatively successful everywhere I went in the middle of what felt like utter chaos to a 12-year-old because I could find the information I needed to find, and I had the skills that I needed to succeed, starting, they were just part of me because I went here for so long. So really, I think,
You're still here.
I'm still here, I know.
Put her back in preschool.
But I really think, I know my mom was pretty stressed about me testing and getting grades, but really your kids, when they go here, they learn how to learn, and they can take that skill and use it everywhere and anywhere. And I really think, to me, that's the beauty of 5 Acre, and I watch kids get better at this every single day when I come here, and it's it is such a cool thing. It's really, really, really important, and I feel really lucky to have that skill, and I'm sure everybody else here does too.
Excuse me just 1 second. I just want to, Austin just walked in, who I just met for the very first time. And he's an alum. And so, Austin, will you just say who you are,
okay.
How long you went here, where you are now, how old you are, something like that?
I'm Austin. I went here my 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, so 2004, 2005, 2006. I was in public school before that. I'm 21 now. Really liked the school a lot. It was when Juanita and Bill stood in horses and stuff. And then I actually like remember there's like trees out there that we went and like planted and like took apple trees from different places and then like gardening and stuff we did. There's like all kinds of like really cool activities doing. And now I went through high school, went through middle school. I'm in college right now in Colorado. It's my 4th year. I'm gonna take the 5-year route. Don't want to get to the real world yet. I'm gonna just take my time, you know, like not ready to get there yet. I'm doing environmental science, so I really enjoyed the school. And a lot of kids in my grade, or when we went there, like 6th grade, and then you have kids repeat 6th grade again in middle school to get them like more into like the flow. But I wanted to be my friends and said like I feel comfortable like going up to the 7th grade. And I did fine in 9th grade and then up to high school and stuff and athlete and just I was like really nervous about tests and stuff and really stressing out in public schools before I came here and then didn't have grades, which is like awesome, and then got in trouble. You had to like go scoop horse poop and stuff. This was really awesome. We did like a lot of cool activities, like really hands-on, like music. And do you guys still do plays every year?
Yeah.
Plays every year is super cool. I don't know. So it's really like really great school. I really enjoyed every part of it. That's why I haven't been here for like 7 or 8 years now. So it's like looking around, it's like, oh, I remember. Had like 3 people in my whole grade and stuff. It was nice. I really enjoyed it.
Where are you going in Colorado?
It's called Colorado Mesa University. It's in Grand Junction.
Yeah.
It's like pretty close to Utah border, like 15 miles away.
Oh.
It's a totally different environment. It's like a desert, and I love coming home for breaks where it's like, oh, big trees and rain and grass and moss. It's not like rocks and stuff all the time. So it's just pretty in a different way. So.
Yeah. Sorry, Steve, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just
What
want
I
to
wanted
make
to
sure.
say is you summed it up so perfectly as far as I've always thought for years that kids here learn how to learn. And I knew some time ago by looking in the newspaper, seeing the honor kids, I recognized so many names from 5 Acre, but the thing I didn't know is what you guys are filling in today about the test taking and some of that stuff. That's the stuff I'm hoping to find and help my son make that transition, although he's got to do it on his own. But that's the stuff you can really help. I know that you guys are going to be successful, and almost anybody in 5 Acre that goes there will be. But it's a hard transition, I think, for some people. That's individual, and that's what I'm hearing. That's what I came here for. Thanks.
I'll interject something. I think one of the coolest things about how we learn here is that they expose you to so many different projects and things that might spike your interest. Or I remember one of the coolest things that we did, that sounds weird, but we moved this giant rock, and Mom taught us. We spent like a week trying to figure out how we could just move it with like all the people and learning about different physics things. Projects like that, just like that really interest me. So then in middle school, I found they have science fair projects. And that's where I found a bunch of people that were my friends and met really cool teachers that were interested in science. And so things like that here will let people like this, when they move on, they'll find different programs wherever they're at. It just, you might find that you really like music, or you like doing plays or science or whatever. There's things all over. Painting murals on the wall. Not a lot of people get to do that, but it's really cool, and I think that helps when you transition, because you already have an idea of what you like and all the cool things there is to do.
I just say I was going to just open so many more doors and rather than just like when I'm in college, like sitting in classroom, doing homework, taking tests and stuff. So this, like, you can do different things. It's just not so like been doing it for 12 years, It's like, oh, we actually get to go out and go field trips and stuff like every Wednesday because they close down there for hunting and stuff. So that's sweet. So you're going on field trips and stuff, and like that, like you said, you can open so many doors of different things that you like can take out of this school and then go in college, and then you can be like, oh, I kind of want like towards my major towards this, because you get to be outside, you get to do experiments and all kinds of stuff like that. So it just opens your brain a little bit more than just wassail and stuff like that.
Well, and you really get to pick what you do for a lot of, like, I remember exploration stations, I think, is what they were called, and you get a topic and you get kind of a loose idea of what you were supposed to do, but then you chose like the specifics of what interested you, and you had to design your project. And like we did so many things that now when I write papers for science classes where I'm like designing procedures and stuff, I was like, oh my god, I spent my entire elementary school like career doing this, and it's awesome, it's super fun. And I think it's really cool that you put 9-year-olds in charge of like what they want to learn and how they want to learn it, and then everyone ends up learning because they're doing it in the way that works best for them.
It sounds like most of you have picked kind of the institutional or the orthodox education system after here, because this is kind of an alternative school. Did any of you all consider going like homeschooling or anything else?
I went to OPA, which is supposed to be like part homeschool.
Yeah.
But it's not really. Like, I don't know. It was just kind of like going to normal school. They just have, on 2 days you have like math, science, English, and on other days you have like random classes like drama or any class. Like I had a class that was, I'm trying to think of the classes, I can't remember.
They were like electives.
Yeah,
right?
they were just like
Yeah.
random classes. Like I think my sister's taking a fashion class there or something. I don't know. But yeah, it was just like electives one day and regular classes on the other 2 days. Which was nice because it was like not every day the same thing. But yeah.
So you're not doing that anymore, though?
No.
You decided to transition away from that and go to
I went to the high school after that.
in PA or in
In
Squim?
Squim.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't really like the high school at all, but it wasn't that bad, I guess. I'm not good at taking tests, so that was my problem. Like, I didn't know how to take tests. I like just wouldn't study for them. I'd be like, well, whatever I get. And yeah, that's how I would kind of do it.
Right.
But yeah.
If there were more alternatives available, would you or your families have pursued those alternatives instead of going through the public schools, or would you still have chosen to go to public schools?
I think that like this is great. However, I had no experience with, like, if there's one person I didn't like, that was fine. I wasn't used to a classroom of people I didn't like. So like I learned how to like deal with people so much more. Like here's like, one person, sit down here and we'll talk it out, right? But there's like that doesn't work. And like dealing with people and like you have to like, you can sort of do your own thing there. You can do your own thing there, but it's not, I don't know, I guess you could say it's not accepted, but it makes it like harder, because if you're used to doing your own thing there and you want to go do it there, it makes it harder to like, make more friends, and it just can make it harder for you at school. So like I learned how to like adapt to a new situation and like fit in. So like if I feel like if I just continued to go to there and then because I don't know, they might have more 5-acre related high school age, but I know a lot of people will come from homeschool straight into high school, and it's just like mind like blown. But going from here to middle school is like an adjustment, and there to high school. So I think even if there had been other alternatives, I would have, if I had known about what middle school was, I would have rather gone to middle school.
Would you have, do you think it would have been easier to transition at the high school level or at the middle school?
Middle school level.
Middle school for sure.
Were you gonna say something? You started to say something.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say one of my favorite things here was the exploration stations, and you would go around and do stations. Like one of my favorite ones was the troll doll one, where you would like build something to make them go to like a different tribe or something like that. And that made me do my homework really fast. I did it really fast, and I would do it whenever I get home. And most of the kids, they have really bad grades because they never do their homework, and they have a lot of missing work. And I would always get it done, so I have like 2 A minuses and the rest are A's.
Well, to answer your question though about an alternative school, if there would have been what I feel like is a competent alternative, because yeah, opposed to the middle school, I definitely would have gone. I mean, I think in an ideal world, you would get to go up to high school, obviously with like increasing challenges and stuff and homework and testing or whatever, but I would love to go to a high school and a middle school with 5 acres, like basic curriculum. It'd be awesome. It wouldn't like kill the joy of like learning and education, and for me, that's really what public school did in a lot of ways, and that's such a sad thing, I think. But
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, please.
I kind of had, I have to say, the honors at Stevens, I don't know about Squim Middle School, but the honors at Stevens is very similar to 5 acres kind of general project kind of thing. I mean, right now in language arts, we're doing History Day, and each kid or each group of kids get to do their own project. I'm right now making a website for the history of Western philosophy for my History Day, while my friends are making a documentary about the Viking invasion of Britain. So the honors lets you branch out and do anything you really want, within, of course, the accepted criteria. And I mean, science and language arts are the two classes that really are really most like 5 Acre, because they allow you to do different things that you want to do and are interested in.
And I know, I will say, this is not a commercial for Stevens Middle School because I still have many reservations, but we happen to live in Port Angeles, and Raven and Cole both obviously live in Port Angeles, and they are both at Stevens, and they're both in the honors classes in the 8th grade. And that group of 3 teachers, is really, I'm very impressed.
Can you clarify, since
Yeah.
we're not here, we haven't been here
Yeah.
for very long? Stevens is the public
Stevens
middle
is the
school?
public middle school
Okay.
in Port Angeles, and it's actually a
Cool.
junior high model, so it's 7th and 8th grade.
Okay.
In Swim, it's a middle school model, so it's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Okay.
And I can't really speak to Swim because I don't have a lot of experience with it, but you guys certainly can. I will say that honors team at Stevens, at least in the 8th grade, would be hard to beat. Like if I had to create a program and be comparable to or better than those 3 teachers, I would be hard pressed.
So is that what Reagan was referring to as not having classroom tests, because you guys are always doing projects instead?
Yeah, there's a lot less like teaching to the test too. And last year, when we were touring the school just to see whether I was going to go there, we were asking, do you do a lot of teaching to the test, or is it just a lot of projects and learning and then taking a test to learn to express your skills, assess your skills. And they were like, we do not teach to the test at all. We hate it when people do that. We don't want to ruin education by teaching to the test. And so I was since I didn't take the test to get into the honors program, I was in the regular level classes for the first 2 months of school. And that was really, really awful. I couldn't believe how, I don't want to say how stupid the kids were that didn't go to 5 Acre, but it was kind of like, oh, Utah's in the United States. Oh, that's cool. Does that involve math? It's bad. And then I got into honors finally because my teachers realized, okay, she didn't take the test, but you have to put her in those classes anyway. And it's when I realized that when I transitioned, those classes, the honors classes, were just like 5 Acre. And all the good classes are the ones that are just like 5 Acre. And you're prepared for them, and it's really nice.
I can address the Swim Middle Schools is not like Stevens. It's basically kind of horrible. And Matthew had the same experience that Raven had with the non-traditional thing. So what I really want to segue to is, as a parent, looking back, I would definitely agree with Irie. If there was a comparable, competent alternative to the middle school within Swim, then as parents, we would definitely consider that. And we kind of looked at it early on with coming to 5 Acre, was that we were sort of paying our kids' education forward. That was really sort of our plan that, I was the kind of student sort of like my son, where if it was interesting, I paid attention. If not, I don't have time for you. I was trying to have a better experience for them that they actually liked going to school versus me trying to find ways out of it. But the biggest thing could be as an advocate. So Raven was saying it took 2 months. So we really used the 5 Acre parents ahead of us as resources when their kids went into the system, who are the good teachers, and not necessarily personality, but who can really teach, like Autumn's saying. And there are still great teachers in Swim Middle School, not a lot of them. In high school and Swim, I think, is better than PA high school, for sure.
Yeah, I will say.
Academically, it's significantly different. We have very good friends in PA, and when we talk with their kids, and so.
The middle school in Swim was not a very good place, but the high school, I definitely had some teachers in some classes that sparked interests I didn't even know I had, and totally opened my eyes to things. And so the high school in Swim was a lot better than the middle school, I think. But the middle school is pretty rough.
But you need to be an advocate, at high school and even in middle school, of getting the kids into the classes that your kids should be in. And they do everything they can to just try to make you be a sheep. just go here, don't buck the system. So like in high school, we learned there's a lot of classes you can get your kids to bypass. So for example, the state, I don't know if they still do, but they required PE. And my kids wanted to do sports. Well, if they take a health class online, they don't have to take the PE, which means now they can take Spanish and have an elective that's going to be useful. Or robotics, or my daughter took CAD. Then there's another class called Digitals, which is basically can you